Patreon 146, there's going to be spoilers for all of the series I'm going to be talking about, so tread carefully. Sean H asks, I was thinking about the overseas heroes that Endeavor mentioned. Obviously, we know one of them will be Ectoplant, but do you think Captain Celebrity will come? Also, do you think one of them could be Deku's dad? So, I really hope that Captain Celebrity comes, but from the silhouettes we see, he doesn't appear to be among them. Now, is it possible that he completely changed his look and he is in fact one of the silhouettes? Yeah, sure, why not? But probably not. And also, it doesn't mean that all of the heroes that we're going to see come over are a part of the silhouettes, and vice versa. But I'm also not really sure of the timeline of Vigilantes and where we are right now in My Hero. Is it like 5 or 6 years or something maybe? Meaning that, like, I think that's maybe the last time we saw Captain Celebrity. So I'm not sure if he's like even still a pro hero. I mean, he probably is. And at this point in the story, his level of power is certainly welcome for the side of the heroes because they really need, you know, that advantage right now, considering how much firepower they're lacking compared to the villains. But at this point, it just seems too good to be true, and that's why I think he's probably not going to show up, because, you know, it would just be too good. But as for Izuku's dad being a hero overseas, I just think that's very unlikely because it pretty much would have been said in the first chapter if that was true, right? I think the only way this is possible is if he decided to become a hero while he was overseas and he just didn't tell anybody. Delamante asks, do you think Gojo could actually wipe out all of the non-sorcerers and the Jujutsu Society that opposed him if he went along with Geto's plan like Geto thought he could? Yeah, I think he could. I don't see why not, especially if he just did it out of the blue and they didn't know it was coming. It's very unlikely they'd be able to stop him at that point. I mean, if they had prep time and everything, then it's like a different story. But no way, if he just decided to go on like a rampage, do I think they'd be able to stop him. It'd be similar to like the whole Maki and the Zenin clan thing. Dino W asks, what's your diet like? It's pretty simple. Like, I eat the same set of meals every day for like weeks at a time, and then I'll change it up. But like nowadays, it's like potatoes, eggs, beef, chicken, tuna, salmon, rice, random green vegetables, and then some kind of random cheese and some random bread. I mean, I do eat other things occasionally, but I mainly just stick to those things because, you know, I just have them on hand. What do you think's going on with the timekeepers on Loki? I honestly have no idea, and I like that I have no idea because I just want to be surprised by what the eventual reveal is going to be. I also don't even want to look up any kind of like theories because I'm sure somebody's going to get it right and it'll spoil me. Like, that almost happened with the last episode, but thankfully it didn't. Jimmy P asks, in the first season of One Punch Man episode 7, a meteor suddenly changes its course which would destroy Z City. Has there been an explanation to its unnatural orbit deviation? So this sequence is interesting because it plays out differently in the anime than it does in the manga. In the anime, Bang says apparently it suddenly changed paths. That means the end for us. But he doesn't say this in the manga. He actually kind of talks down on the Hero Association, saying that like if they successfully stop the meteor, they'll get more donation. And that's not mentioned in the anime. They kind of just swap the dialogue. And since this is the anime, it's very likely that this was done by the team that was working on this from Bones and Madhouse. And I don't know if one had oversight for like every single little thing such as this dialogue swap. I know that he had the final say on everything that had to do with Saitama, but not things like this. So it's possible that this was just Madhouse and Bones' quick explanation as to why the meteor is so close to Earth without them finding out beforehand. I think it's very unlikely it has anything to do with Tatsumaki because there's never been any kind of clues or implications that she did have something to do with it. And I also think a reveal like this would halt the direction her character is headed in. And we could get spicy with it and say that, oh, this was God doing this. But since it's just not mentioned in the manga, it seems unlikely that this has any kind of significance unless it's retconned, you know, later on in the manga that this was in fact God or something. What's the latest info on release date for One Punch Man Season 3? So there is none. And there has never been any. Like, we still have yet to have any confirmation that Season 3 is even possibly going to be a thing. L asks, since you're brushing up on your Japanese for the trip, can we hear your I want to become stronger? Suyoku Naritai. Pretty sure I said that right, but definitely not brushing up on my Japanese for the trip. I've had a few friends who went out there and they definitely didn't do that, and they said that everything worked out fine for them. So I'm very comfortable with doing the same. Little Ferrari asks, in your last Q&A, you said you have been told to watch Berserk. I strongly recommend reading the manga for Berserk if you ever get into the series. None of the anime brings the manga any sort of justice. So yeah, that's what I fully intended to do if I was going to get in Berserk, was just going to read the manga, especially since Miura was such an amazing artist. But I'm not sure when I'll start Berserk, but I have a feeling that I eventually will get around to it. Do you see My Mask coming back into the fight for this arc? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be revealed soon that he has that regeneration ability, and that's how he was able to come back from getting ripped in half by Fear Ugly. And I assume that there's still Black S left. Like, it's interesting that they didn't mention anything about numbers when they made Golden S. So maybe he still will fight Black S and Evil Natural Water, and we'll get the arm sequence too, and then he'll eventually lose to Awakened Garo. Or just everything changes because, you know, it's been like that. Nathan W asks, with McCoy working for the Neo Heroes, where do you see his story ending? Does he have a tragic or deserved fate waiting for him? So it seems like McCoy is maybe being set up for like a redemption or something, because it showed that he was very fearful of Fuzzy, implying that like Fuzzy is the real big bad here, aside from like the organization. And now that I really think back on it, I don't think McCoy has really done anything wrong, at least in the webcomic. I mean, he was like a jerk in the manga, or at least that bonus chapter that he was a part of. Poor Cutlet Bowl, I think that was the one. But I don't remember him doing anything wrong in the webcomic. He's kind of just been like a little sus. But I really wouldn't be surprised if he somehow winds up back in the Hero Association, or whatever the hero thing is going to be after this arc. One Punch Fan asks, do you think the rest of the One Punch Man manga continuity will stay pretty much consistent with the webcomic, or do you think that we will see it branch out even further and make major changes to the story? Yeah, I think it's going to branch out and make further changes to the story. I think the major things that happen will happen in the manga as well, like obviously Saitama versus Garo, and I'm sure that will have pretty much the same outcome to it. Then the whole Tatsumaki and Saitama thing, and then the My Mask reveal, and so on and so forth. But everything in between that is just anybody's guess. And that means such as things like character deaths that otherwise wouldn't have happened originally, but can still ultimately lead to the same outcome like we just talked about. We can also have different fights that didn't originally happen, like we're having right now with Garo and Bang. And we can even get character buffs that normally wouldn't have happened. That's pretty much it for the video today, guys. I want to thank all 125 of my amazing patrons, and if you would like to be in next week's Q&A, simply check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.